Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. I decided yesterday to finally do the gambling boxes, the snake boxes that have been around. These ones were available, or I should say are still available, and they've been available for about a month. It's kind of crazy since the Lunar New Year, and since I've been having problems with getting the multi-streaming going over the last little bit, I gave you guys the choice what you wanted to see. Did you want to see some gambling or not? And the vast majority of people voted for the 60 million SL gamble. So when it comes to the SL that I earn on my account, it is all earned by me. I don't request anything in terms of that, I just grind out the SL, and that's where it was. We started this process of opening the boxes at 80 million SL, and right now, after spending 60 million, we are at 41,617,000. So, roughly spent about, we spent 60 million, but we basically got around 20 million back. Now, that's because a lot of the prizes that I got during the actual kind of openings I already had. So I ended up getting some SL back there. But just from raw numbers, if we don't count that, the amount spent was 60 million SL, and we ended up getting back in SL 13,520,000. So therefore, the total spent before adding in the SL given back for the stuff that I already had, it was 46,480,000. So I roughly got back about 22.5% of the SL that I put in. So it definitely means that you don't make SL on these things for obvious reasons. Most of the time we were actually very low on it, but you do get back about a fifth or a quarter of it as you go through. Now, this was bumped up by the fact that I got 4 vehicles. Over the 1,000 boxes opened, 4 vehicles dropped. We had Bongs P38J15, the TOG2, the MBR2 M34, and also the Spitfire Mark 9C. Now, because I had all of these vehicles already, that meant that each of them were worth 1 million SL, and therefore I got that back instead. Obviously, you'd rather have the vehicles, and if you were in a position that was, different to mine, where you would actually get access to these things, I would actually say that's pretty cool, especially Bong's P38 and the TOG2, both fantastic additions to your kind of lineups. Now, I didn't get any vehicle coupons. One of the big pulls that we had last time was the C2A1, which was an incredibly good pull. But no, only vehicles this time, and the other prizes that we ended up getting. So there was 150 wagers, 2 profile icons, 8 decals, 2 decal coupons, which were both the same thing, and then also 3 decorations, 1 decoration coupon, 203 universal backups, 122 orders, and then also 70 SL boosters and 141 RP boosters, plus 1 loading screen. So out of all of these, the only ones, at least for me, that were valuable were the decal coupons, and not because I could sell them, because most of the decal coupons nowadays are actually super low, but because of the fact it actually showed me that there were a set of coupons that I didn't actually have, and this was from 2016 of all times. Basically, there was a Chronicles of World War II event in 2016, and I was thinking about it last night because I got one of the decal coupons. It was the Monster Jaws, and what ended up happening with it is I was actually in England at the time when this was actually going on, so I didn't have all of the decals for it. But now I do, since they're all available on the market for about 20 Gaijin Sen. So now that's sorted. So overall, it was actually a positive experience for me because I was able to complete another set of decals that I didn't have before. Now, the other vehicle that would have been really nice to get was the Sublinder. The Sublinder is the only event vehicle that I don't have, which was out of all of the boxes, but wanting that and, kind of going for that and nothing else, that's obviously going to be a tall order. But, as we've talked about before, Gaijin have created this system, so therefore the only way you can get access to these things is through that system. Now, if I'm actually looking at it overall, the amount of SL that was put into this and the amount of time it takes to grind it, generally I would actually be pretty happy with the results. 4 vehicles, 10 decals, and then 4 decorations, and then a ton of universal backups, which is super useful. And also, if they decide to add in that recycling system that they've talked about previously, and also there's code in the files for, it means that you can kind of, recycle a lot of the other stuff that you don't want, such as the wages or such as the orders that kind of turn up. The amount of things I got this time was actually way more than the last time as well, that we did this last year. And I feel confident being able just to kind of grind the SL back while just, generally playing the game. And I understand I'm in a much more fortunate position than many others when it comes to the game, because I can put a lot more time into it than most people can because of kind of like my work-life balance and how it all works. And I'm very happy about that, but I also understand the other side of things where it might not be as easy for people to kind of go through. But I can only show my own experiences with this and only show what I kind of do. One of the things that I think is important, especially when it comes to content creation, is being as honest as possible, and also at the same time not requesting as much as possible for these things. If you can grind out stuff yourself, then it gives you a much better perspective on what other people are going through, but also at the same time what other things are worth. Like for me, 60 million SL is not a small amount of SL, because, I don't just request it. I understand it takes people months, years to be able to grind that out. Some people will never see it when playing War Thunder because of being a free-to-play player, or because, they only play specific game modes where SL doesn't come around as much. And that, sucks at the end of the day. I've actually been tracking my SL stuff recently, and they've definitely made it harder to gain SL once again at the higher echelons, meaning that you either go kind of neutral or very slightly positive, and then you have to buy a vehicle and you go negative again. But whenever I'm playing mid-tiers or whenever I'm playing naval, the SL stuff shoots up like crazy. So the real question, I suppose, is this worth it? Right now, the way that the system is set up for War Thunder, there is no other way of getting these vehicles apart from using the market, which isn't available for console players. So if you see it from that point of view, it is worth it because, you are using in-game currency to be able to get stuff from the past. Now, I think there are much better systems that they could implement in the game for people to get access to past content, and I wish that they would implement them, because it just kind of sucks that that isn't the case. Nowadays, instead, what you have is a simple setup where you can only gamble to maybe get something that you could get in the past. And I wish there was a more direct way, a more permanent way of reassuring and getting those things for people. Because, as I said, I don't like the idea that because I played the game earlier than other people, they don't get access to stuff that I don't get access to. Same with stuff like the R2Y2 being removed, right? It's the same kind of ideal. And at least this kind of gambling setup gives people an opportunity into that world, but it isn't the right way to do it. And they should change this going forward so it's more permanent and more of a direct way of people getting what they want. I'm hoping that in the future they do kind of bring in some kind of like nostalgia or classic stuff, so therefore, it's a bit easier. But I think also in general, they have so many people hooked to the gambling stuff, I don't think that's going to happen. And it just kind of makes me sad at the end of the day. I wish it wasn't the case. I wish we could just all have the things, and be able to get it all. But c'est la vie. Free-to-plays or any games nowadays just don't work like that, because it's all just about gacha and all about FOMO. As always, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. I'd just like to thank GMG Smiley, CD Beans, Chieftain Mike, EMN3 Galaxy, Tullio Pontecorvo, Brendan Quinn, Carrion Crow, Gus Irenicus, Pyman, Wartinder, Teddy, Daniel Stanton, Martinez, B. Young, Ozzy Panzer, Alan Hacker, Liam Shear, Opium Prime, Lafouche, Sem Aslan, Uncle Bean, and Derek R. for supporting the channel.